My name is Luann Therrien. I live in Sheffield with my husband Steve and our 2 children. Have no idea what we have done or who we've done it to deserve what we are being put through, but I do know that no one at the government level has reached out to us to try to help us. We keep reaching out. The response back, as far as we can, has been mostly silence. Sorry. Since April of last year, we have contacted First Wind numerous times, and our governor, senators, Congress, Meadows End, a company that owns land where most of the turbines are sited in the town of Sheffield, and the President of the United States. We have filed a formal complaint with the PSB and numerous, almost daily, sometimes complaints with the Public Service Department. My doctor has contacted Lori Cragen at the Vermont Department of Health, as we have been advised by the Public Service Department to do. Mostly the response is, "So sorry for your situation, but there is nothing we can do, or we cannot set precedent by helping you, so basically, suck it up." Why hasn't the Department of Health talked to us? Why haven't they reached out to us to get a better understanding of what is happening to us and others living near turbines? Why has their response been, as far as we can tell, nothing? No one wants to take responsibility. Apparently, we are to blame for choosing to live where we do. We consider ourselves to be hardy people. Living off-grid and in the middle of nowhere is not easy, but we love where we live. We have lived at our home in Sheffield for 17 years. The land has been in my husband's family since the 70s. He has invested a lot of time developing the maple sugar bush on our 52 acres. Before the turbines were built, we felt we did not know enough about industrial wind to have an informed opinion. We didn't go to any protests. We didn't do any of that. We didn't know. We did not oppose them being built. We did not oppose the many inconveniences during construction that come with a project of this size. We did not oppose the project. Not until it was up and running and creating noise. Creating noise that, unlike what the wind developers will try and make you believe, is distinguishable above natural sound. I have never heard anything in nature make a repetitive whoosh, whoosh, whoosh sound for up to 5 days straight. And the only thing I have heard sound like a jet flying overhead, except for the wind turbines, is a jet flying overhead. That has now been going on for over a year. We do live relatively close to I-91, and the sound is very different than from the wind turbines. It's a completely different animal. To have no one believe or understand just what we are going through is like being constantly beat down. Having people say we are making it up, or worse yet, putting the blame on having children. Until you live with what we are dealing with, you cannot understand what it is like to walk in our shoes. People have openly scoffed at us because they paid a visit to a project and think they have the slightest clue of what it is like to live day after day, month after month beside a wind project. One person had the nerve to say that they had visited a project and the noise was no worse than their dishwasher. Well, I guarantee if your dishwasher was to run day and night, you would shut it off before 5 days were done. We attended Sheffield's annual town meeting and were shunned by many, by people who were previously friendly with us. I had one person tell me every Sheffield resident is benefiting equally from the project's windfall. That is all well and good, but not every resident is suffering equally. It has been said that with all power comes sacrifice and problems. The problem is my family and other families are the sacrifice. In order to stop the continuing damage to our health and sanity, we will have to sacrifice the land where we have lived, loved, and plan to spend the rest of our lives. But when it comes to sacrificing our dreams or ourselves, there really is no choice. We may have no choice but to sell out for whatever we can get just so we can move. Not only will we have to give up the land that we love, but also at a reduced price. Because who wants to buy it? Nobody. Most of the time we can hear a mechanical humming. Wind direction does not matter anymore. The noise for us is at its worst when the wind is coming from the south-southeast. When we are not getting the worst of it, other families are. The prospect of more storms blowing up the coast is about as frustrating as the noise itself. Know it's coming and not a thing we can do about it. My husband is feeling desperate because there is nothing he can do to protect his family. I've been feeling more agitated, working on unreasonable. Not a good combination with 2 little ones. Since November, both my husband and myself have been prescribed antidepressants. I honestly had no idea just how bad I had gotten because it came on gradually. Didn't realize how bad I had gotten until one day my son said something to me that made me laugh out loud. It was then that the realization hit me that I had not done that in a long time, and I have not done much since, even with the increase in my medication. I used to laugh all the time, dance with my children, and make up silly songs. I want to do these things again. I have a constant ringing in my ears that can be very distracting. My husband has been feeling so bad that he is currently unable to work. His doctor pulled him from his job. It's impossible to work when you cannot concentrate due to lack of sleep. A constant pulsing in your head like a painless migraine and having the constant feeling of a head rush no matter what you are doing. Steve wakes up startled during the night in a panic state and cannot go back to sleep. He has dry heaves almost every morning and has thrown up a few times. Being pulled from his job, being unfit to work, means he cannot collect unemployment. We have been living very frugally off of our income tax return. This money will run out. Not sure what we will do then. Both of us have a lack of concentration. I can't even read this. Both of us have a lack of concentration. Many days we have this odd pressure in our heads. Can feel the pressure in our foreheads, cheeks, and even in the front teeth, with a feeling of pressure as if something is pressing on the bridge of our nose. Many mornings we wake up with a feeling of motion sickness. We know if we do not feel well, our children do not feel well. They cannot tell us verbally, but they do in other ways. We have seen a noticeable change in our son's behavior. He goes from being a normally active 3-year-old with an attitude problem to an unreasonable, uncontrollable, active 3-year-old with an attitude problem. That doesn't end because he goes to sleep. When a visitor asked our 3-year-old what he thinks of wind turbines, he put his little hands up and covered his ears. Most nights, both of our children have restless nights, and both regularly cry out in their sleep. We have no idea what kind of permanent harm may potentially be being done. We are getting so tired of feeling like hell every day. We feel as bad when we get up as when we go to bed. Frustrating isn't even the right word to describe how it feels to get up in the morning, already feeling tired, agitated, and angry. Our children deserve better. We deserve better. We went through hell to have our children. It certainly was not my choice to have our first child at 40. We went through loss, one at 5 months along, tests and operations. On our 5th try, we had a healthy boy, and we now have a healthy baby girl. And instead of the joy of raising our babies, there is a feeling of being helpless and hopeless. Helpless to protect our children from the industrial wind project that has been built behind our home. Unable to protect them from the constant noise, annoyance, and sleepless nights with all the side effects that go along with it. We have contacted First Wind. Their only worry is that they're in compliance and cannot set precedent by giving a homeowner money. We told them we would need $100,000 to $150,000 to move a double-wide home onto a lot in Derby. This was not to buy us out. It was to move us away from their 16 industrial wind factories. They say they are in compliance and everything is fine. Some pro-wind experts say a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile is too close. Other studies say 1.5 miles is too close. The 16 turbines are all just from 3/4 of a mile, 5 are under a mile, to just under 2 miles from our home. All 16 are just under 2 miles. The human factor of living with the constant annoyance of these machines does not matter to wind companies. Humans are being used as experimental guinea pigs, and this is extremely unethical to impose a health risk on a community without rigorous testing first and no response plan to address the real suffering of people like us. Turbines are huge industrial machines whose effects on humans have not been proven and therefore should not be placed next to human habitation unless extensive tests are carried out. You do not have to be a scientist or a researcher to know that putting a site of industrial-sized turbines next to humans is not an ideal situation for anybody. We need more research before any more sightings close to humans are carried out. No human should have this inflicted on them. We wouldn't impose any other sort of industrial machine next to homes, but wind turbines are all about politicians showing green credentials and large companies and wealthy landowners making fortunes out of taxpayers' money. Consequently, ordinary people are being trampled over in the wind rush. thank you very much for your time.